proudest day and the proudest time in the seat of a rally car, because that day and that hour and those minutes, I got the bit between my teeth. You know, I really stood up and was counted and said, this is not getting away. I remember when we pulled on our helmets and Donald says to me, what are we doing? I said, we're going for gold, Barrett. That's all was said. I can still picture that run. That was just the best run ever.
Welcome along to Krunching Gears. Let's talk rallying, the rally podcast. We're now on episode 27. So, Connor, these episodes keep racking up.
I know, Kevin. It started out, the original plan was once every 2 weeks, was it?
Yeah.
And we thought we'd struggle to maybe get, half a dozen in, but yeah.
But, it's been so enjoyable so far. And we have to say big thanks to everybody that watches, listens every week. Your likes, your shares, your rating the podcast, all those things makes a huge difference. So if you could please continue to do that, it's mind blowing. In this episode, we look back at Cork Forestry and the Grampian with Patrick O'Brien, Johnnie Mulholland, and Matt Cotton. We also look forward to this weekend then with the Ulster Rally, the last round of the Tarmac Championship, and the Ypres Rally, the latest round is the WRC. So Marion Evans will join us later on to talk about that there. So without further ado, I suppose, Cork Forestry. Great to see Craig Breen making an appearance there.
Absolutely. Kind of a last minute unexpected entry in the ex-Marcus Gromholm Ford Fiesta. Focus, yeah. The family car that the dad had bought a while ago, Ray had bought a while ago. So that was great. Added a bit of extra spice as well. That's the first time now in 3 years that Jim Walsh has run due to COVID, etc.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great to see, like Cork has always been renowned as one of the great forestry events in the country, fast flowing stages. The weather looked to be spectacular. I would say it was hot in the cars, and to have Craig there, fair enough. Like Patrick and Jordan, those guys, they obviously they're keeping an eye on his times, but he was kind of the hare, I suppose, and they were chasing him. It's always good to have somebody to aim for.
Absolutely. It gives the lads a chance to benchmark themselves against, a WRC competitor.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that Craig was absolutely flat out and on the door handles, but still,
Mm-hmm.
as you say, it's good to have somebody to encourage you, to push you on, to give you something to aim for. So, and at the end of the day, Patrick O'Brien came in 22.6 seconds behind Breen, not to be sniffed at.
For sure. And Jordan Hone had a few issues in the morning. Look, once they get the car sorted then for the afternoon, the speed was there as well too, which is great to see. So, all in all, a really good rally. Fantastic stages, fantastic weather. Another wee side note was Adrian Hillington and Gary Nolan. Great to see Gary back in the hot seat again there, taking the two-wheel drive. Like Adrian, he's one of those guys, we've mentioned him before. He's just one of those guys you love to see his name in the entry list, because it'll be full commitment when you see him coming into view.
Oh no, absolutely. He's always a pleasure when I'd spectating to see Adrian Hetherington coming, that distinctive Mark II, can't miss it a mile away. And again, he never disappoints with regard to entertainment value.
That is for sure, that's for sure. And I seen a wee thing there, Gary put up on Facebook, I think it was 2007, they won the two-wheel drive, and 15 years later, they're still doing it. So, there's not many guys still, at the sharp end after 15 years. So, it shows the quality, yes, Adrian's entertaining, but he's fast as well.
Absolutely, he is. That's it. That's what you want. You want a bit of spectacle, but you want somebody who's going to be competitive as well. So you get that in abundance with Adrian.
Yeah, that's for sure. And there's 2 rounds of the Forestry Championship to go. We have the Bushwhacker coming up now in September, and then in October we have the Tour of the Sperms. So all to play for there. 2 great events. The Bushwhacker, we know, flat out good surface and the Tour of the Sperms making a return and going back to some classic stages, maybe more in tune with the stages we remember from the Dog Leap, but the stages that they're going to use are going to be fantastic. So 2 great events to wrap up the championship.
Absolutely, yeah. As you say, change of venue for stages of Tour of the Sperms. what do you call it, compared to the traditional home stages they've been using for the last while. But two well-established events, always, draw a good crowd of spectators and always usually get a good entry as well.
Yeah, and that was great to see Catherine McCourt there at the weekend, and there is strong rumours, I suppose we could say, that there could be a few more Tarmac guys hopefully making the switch over to the gravel for the rain part of the season. So that's great to see.
Absolutely, yeah. Fourth place for Cahan in the Hyundai, which is great. So
yeah. And like he was saying he had issues with the car all day, but loved the handling of the car. So that's really positive. So I suppose without further ado, we'll catch up with Patrick O'Brien and hear his thoughts on how the event went.
Yeah, from the very offset, we got onto a good pace, and it felt reasonably comfortable, to be honest. Maybe not so comfortable with the heat, but the pace was comfortable enough. But no, yeah, it felt good.
Yeah, and I suppose this is where the training that you're getting through the academy is all coming into play. That you're prepared for conditions like yesterday, that heat, and in those conditions, like it's not going to be something you're going to come across very often in Irish events. But at least if you're prepared, it's always a step in the right direction.
Yeah, for sure. Like the first, they were on straight away first thing in Monday morning that we need to get the fluids on this and send the stuff into group chats of what we need to be getting, like for ice packs on your back and stuff like this, things you don't even be thinking of. Like how can you carry ice in the car? But like these, describe what it looks like. You crack it open and then it becomes ice, so you can carry it in the car with you. So I would never known that. So no, definitely they were definitely good help.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's wee things like that just will make a huge difference, and over the 6 stages. And then you were very complimentary towards the organisers of the event there. I seen you mentioned to Andy, they give you a 2-minute gap, like that also helps enough, obviously, as well, and for safety as well too, as much as anything else.
Yeah, without a doubt, like the safety matter is the biggest part in that. Fifth gear and at speeds like that, and you can't see, and it's hard to lift your foot out of the throttle. At times you'll be thinking, I can't lift, like, for the boys behind me will clean me. But no, definitely, and even the people that were working on the event, marshals, timekeepers, like I have to say a massive thank you to them, because it was so warm and they done a fantastic job.
And if you talk about the whole team behind the event and all that, but you have a very strong team, preparing your car for you, like basically, essentially, like a family team, and they've given you a car that's giving you it's capable of winning. That gives you the reassurance just to step into the car, I'm guessing.
Yeah, without a doubt. The boys, they know what they do. It's their business at the end of the day. Myself, even, and young Ryan Caldwell, like, it speaks volume what he's doing, and you have to have the team behind you to do that. So no, without a doubt, they do a fantastic job, and you can jump in and everything will be right from setup till any last detail. They will have it sorted for you.
Yeah, and you mentioned Ryan there. Like Ryan, the weekend coming up now, he'll be doing the Ulster Rally. So having the car turned around from Cork, then back into Forestry, and then from Forestry back into Tar. Like the turnaround is brilliant to see that a team can do that and prepare to do that for the good of the young guy coming up through the field.
Yeah, like it's fantastic to work with Ryan. Like, well, I took today off. I didn't venture down, but the boys were down this morning first thing. They were getting the car washed to get it changed tomorrow morning. So now, even the work with Ryan, it's fantastic to watch him grow and getting quicker and quicker. And I was actually in the car the previous test before the last Tarmac round. The speed that he goes and everything is mad. I couldn't wait to get back out of it.
You're not a good passenger.
No.
So, like yesterday, you had an additional competitor. You had Craig Breen, and we know that he's one of the top drivers in Ireland, WRC star. I know you discounted him; you weren't looking at his times, but nice to have him there too, just to to look at him, see whether how his approach is to things.
Yeah, it's always good to have people like that. There's no point going to them rallies and maybe running away with it. It's good to have someone there like the likes of him or Keith Cronin, if you really have to to go for it. I wasn't racing him, but I was keeping a close eye on what he was doing. I think it was 4. I think Stephen told me 4 seconds was as close as I could get. And okay, you have to remember you have a championship as well, like, so you can't get carried away with Craig. But no, it was fantastic to have him there, and even speaking to him before the start of the stages, like a very, very genuine person and a very nice man.
Yeah, like he's a rally head like at the end of it all, and he wants the better competition, and it's great to see him that he still takes the opportunity to come out and do events back home as well.
Yeah, for sure. It's good to see him even come to the gravel. Like, maybe not when you're trying to win the rally, but it's great for the whole buzz of the event, and it gets people out watching and more interest in the gravel championship as well.
Yeah. And then for the gravel championship now, there's 2 rounds remaining. You're second in the championship, but then I think from drop scores come into play, it's probably fairly neck and neck. You've already dropped a score earlier in the season. Looking forward to the last 2 rounds a bit closer to home for you.
Yeah, I think on drop scores as it is now, I think I actually believe in it. I just heard Stephen talking about it, but no, it'll be tight between myself and Jordan, and yeah, the Bushwhacker is the next event for us, which I can't wait to get back to that. I love that rally. Like, it's the Donegal for me. For most people, it's the same. It's crazy fast, like, and that's what I like. So yeah, I can't wait to go to that. And then the very last round it's a good event as well. I've been there before too. So yeah, really looking forward to them too.
Yeah, I like as you talked about the Bushwhacker, was referred to locally as the Oma Grand Prix. Fast, flat out stages and good surface, and it's probably a relatively level playing field because like Jordan's done it a few times, and they always attract a star-studded entry as well.
Yeah, I think well, I heard some of the Tarmac guys are maybe even coming to the rally too, so that'd be fantastic to see that as well. Like, it is a fantastic rally. I'm not just saying that because I live beside it. It really is a good rally. So if that works out, that'll be brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And then the Tour of the Sperrins is the last round then as well. Good to see the Sperrins back in the Forestry again as well.
Yeah, it's good that we're getting some more forestry rallying up in the north as well, because it's a long drive to Cork every other weekend. So yeah, and they're fantastic stages up there too. I think it's the Cam Forest I think they're using, so brilliant stages.
Yeah, like Cam is regarded as one of, if not the best forestry stages in Ireland, and it's long as well too, which is it's not just the normal sort of like 4 or 5 mile. There's a good length of a stage in it as well too. So I would say you're looking forward to getting your teeth into that one.
I think the last time I was in there was probably the C2, so I'd say it made it a bit easier to drive the Skoda than the C2. Not a big jump in there, and it's hard enough in the C2.
That's for sure. That is for sure. Going to be a fascinating battle, that championship, to see how the fares out over the next couple of rounds. Also, last weekend we had the Grampian Rally, the latest installment of the BRC. Once again, this Keith Crone man seemed to do all the hard lifting on the first lip of stages.
Absolutely. Oisin Price first in the road, bit of gravel sweeping to do. But the problem they had, because of the intense heat, was low-hanging dust. So, Keith was clocking up some serious times, considering there was issues there with visibility.
Yeah, like he seemed to go there with a steely determination, wanted the maximum points, and like was determined to get them from the get-go.
Absolutely, and a heck of a trek for him, like all the way from, what do you call it, this, south of Ireland right up to Aberdeen and near the Highlands of Scotland. Like, it was a hell of a run there and back, just to even get to do the rally. And like a really short rally. It was 6 stages, 43 miles of competitive gravel. Like, it was a bit of a sprint, really.
It is, yeah. Like, there's no room for error in such a short mileage as that there. And like, to be so committed, like I've seen some of the clips, and that is fast and furious.
Yeah, no, it is. And behind Keith, there was a cracking battle between Oisin Price and Rory Bell. And Rory had the beating of Oisin Price right up to the last stage.
Yeah, and it's fantastic to see the likes of Rory Bell and James Williams, guys who have come up through that, the junior British Championship that we keep raving about here too. So like, it shows that the pace is there. It's great to see new names always coming forward in in the sport as well.
Absolutely, it is. And speaking of new names, good bit of Irish interest from the juniors in that round as well of the BRC.
Absolutely, absolutely. Eamon Kelly, who has been on the podcast a few times already now, and Kyle White, Johnnie Mulholland, who we'll hear from later on as well too. These guys, are the stars of the future. There's no doubt in my mind that, we have rally winners there.
Oh, we do. We definitely do. And like the guys are not holding back against each other either. Like there was between Kyle and Eamon, I think there was 1 second of a difference. Kyle was ahead going into the last loop of stages.
But I think Eamon was 1 second ahead going into the last loop.
But I know there was only 1 second and it was mental.
And how unlucky was Kyle? He got a puncture which then ripped the brake pipe. That's bad luck. There's no other way of looking at it, So.
Yeah, I know. It was very unfortunate. Definitely very unfortunate there. But played into Johnnie Mulholland's hands, so.
Yeah, great to see Johnnie. He's such a likable character. We'll hear from him now in a minute. Getting second place points at the finish up too, which was great for him. So I think we should get Johnny's view on it. But first of all, with Johnnie, we spoke about doing Donegal and the famous yellow Skoda Fabia.
Yeah, look, the bit of the story behind that, Kevin, was that a few months prior to when Dad passed away, unfortunately, he had this kind of pipe dream in his head. He's like, I need to do Donegal again. I have to get going to Donegal again. So he was like, what will I do it in? We'll do it in the Escort, we'll do it in an Octavia WRC, we'll do it in, he didn't know what to do it in, but he came back to when he first had an S2000 Fabia. He absolutely loved that car. I think it was a real driver's car. I know now maybe why he loved it so much. So he bought another one of those back. He bought another S2000. Got it stickered up in the colours of the charity that we sponsor, the Friends of the Cancer Centre up in Belfast. They were very good to Dad. He got it stickered up with them or in their logos. And yeah, he'd planned on doing Donegal. Eamon and the guys had kind of let him kind of have a bit of a free rein. They're going to let him, look, John, if you want to go out and do a couple of stages on Saturday or on Friday and come in and do some more on Saturday and come in and work away. So, but unfortunately, he never got to do that. Just he had a couple of things on. I think he maybe had to get an operation or two. Still fighting to try and beat the bloody thing, but he never got the chance to. Then the COVID thing obviously happened, and then I said as soon as Donegal was coming back, I am doing Donegal in that car because that was what it was intended to do. So yeah, we took it up. It got a lot of attention. People love to see it. I think they're a bit of a rare sight now on Irish roads. The S2000s, they make a lot of noise and they look good still. So people definitely like to see it, and we had a lot of fun. We obviously had our mishaps that are pretty well documented now, but look, we had a lot of fun and we were glad to get to the end. And I think, as you say, it was a nice tribute, given it's Father's Day weekend, everything that all traditionally falls on. So no, it was nice to get to the end.
Yeah, and as you say, like the amount of awareness that raised over the weekend as well too. So like that obviously had a fallback on for the charity and all as well too, which has to be positive.
Yeah. Look, a bright yellow car heading up a little small Irish lane is always going to turn a few heads, but especially the slogan at the back with the exhaust is, I think everyone knows what that says too. Yes. So it definitely, if it can raise a bit of awareness for those guys and even just those kind of charities in general, Kevin, like it's always a plus. It's a plus for everyone. So
yeah, absolutely. So we'll get back now to your BRC campaign. Like, maybe not your best year after won the Academy and all last year, but you've been getting strong results, I would say, so far this year.
We've been getting all right results. Yeah, we're just not quite on the pace of the other guys at the minute. I think we have a couple of things to work on. We're maybe just not committing in places that we should be. But look, we're maybe trying to build Rome in a day. But the other guys are definitely on a very strong pace. We've been trying our best to be quicker here and there, but the guys are they're so fast at the minute, Kevin. But we're definitely still going to keep trying. We're not going to give up too easy. But I think we're lying third at the minute. We've had a handful of good results and keep taking plenty of points. I've always been told to finish first. First, you have to finish. That was a famous saying of Dad's as well. So that's always in the back of my head. And even just by finishing, like we managed to limp to the end of the Grampian there with a couple of issues, but we got to the end of it and ended up taking a real good handful of points. So it all adds up in the end, as you know.
Yeah, and then there's 3 rounds remaining. You still have your Joker round to play as well.
Yeah.
And there's 1 tar and 2 gravel rounds remaining. Like, where do you see your preferred surface at now?
It's funny. I started off rallying on the gravel, so I do like it. But my pace just hasn't been there on the gravel this year. So I'm probably looking forward to getting back on the tarmac in Wales. I don't know what their roads are like. I've heard a few reports that it's not a bad rally. This one in Aberystwyth or Cerridon or whatever it's called, but like it's meant to be a decent enough rally, Kevin, and we'll be looking back to getting on the black stuff, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you spoke about your guys you're competing against there, like Eamon Kelly and Kyle White. As you say, their pace is phenomenal. But like that obviously has to help you because you have something to aim for. That for you to improve, where you need to go.
Yeah, I definitely don't like coming in off a stage and thinking, God, that was pretty good, and then the guys are 5 or 10 seconds ahead of you. Like I don't like that. So it's always something in the back of your head. You want to think, right, where can I make up time? What can I do different? How can I go a bit faster? How can I be neater through here? So it gives you a good place to aim, as you say. As I said, the guys are on fair play to them. They're going hard this year. They're going really hard. So that's kind of where we need to be, and we'll hopefully get there eventually. Yeah.
Yeah, and like as you say, it's only 5 or 6 seconds stage, but the way that they're like tenths of a second, 1 second separating them at times there. So
yeah,
it's only a
the
blink of an eye
weekend.
that you're off them.
Yeah, the weekend pass there was really close for them. I think after 4 or 5 stages, they were a second apart. So, kind of says it all really in terms of the competition that's out in the British Championship. So, as I say, they're doing well and they're on a blistering pace. So we can't fault them or slate them for that.
And like from your own point of view, you're always a great supporter of the events home. You've done the Tarmac Championship in previous years. You're now over something. This is your second year now, full time in the BRC. Like, how do you find the stages over there?
The stages are good. What draws me to the BRC a bit is just that I do like getting on to both surfaces. It's different. Not that I don't like tar any less than gravel or vice versa, but I like the variety. Every year there seems to be different rallies on the calendar. And it's a bit more exciting that way and a bit more of a challenge. Not taking away anything from here. I love my rallying here, and we've got some of the best roads in the world. But I just like maybe the variety of it at times. And look, I'm definitely going to come back to Ireland to do a lot more rallies, I think. But I just like getting out. It's a different challenge. It's a bit of an adventure going out there. You're always heading off to different parts or different corners of the country. So yeah, it's good fun. Yeah, and I suppose that's why we like it. It's got that kind of fun attached to it.
We always talk about, the great camaraderie in rallying. You can see that amongst all your junior BRC guys. There seems to be great crack there. And the way that you took Max McRae and Finney come over to do Donegal and then the next rest, like he become one of the lads very quickly, didn't he?
Yeah, I know. After Donegal, I think we opened Max's eyes up. He was only 18 that weekend, and Sunday night after Donegal, I dragged him into Pulse nightclub, and I think that was an eye opener for him. All right, but he had a good time, and yeah, he's definitely he would text me at times, and he's Max a real nice lad, and all the other guys too. We can't say a bad word about each other. We could go out and have the crack and have a bit of a laugh, and that's part of rallying. Rallying's not a serious thing. It's a bit of crack amongst the lads, and if you can't do that, then you're probably not really enjoying yourself.
That's for sure. That is for sure. And you talk about the banter and the crack. Like yourself and Eamon Kelly, you're in you're run by the same preparation company, VSM. Like Eamon's been having a few dramas, I suppose we could say, with Ardeca Ypres
Yeah.
and there to help.
That started off on Nicky Grist. He had an issue. He damaged the sump, I think, in the Gulf, and Eamon ended up leaving the car in the forest, and then he had to jump in the backseat of my recce car. So me and Owen were up front. Owen was calling my pace notes. Him and Connor were in the back calling pace notes at the same time. So it got a bit confusing, and especially I'm 6th fastest, Eamon's 1 fastest. So like we were listening to each other, and I think I just went for a drive around the forest that day. I don't think there was much concentration going on. And then of course Eamon had these. He's not here to defend himself, so we can talk about him plenty. He obviously had these big plans for this new car that he penned Barbara, a lovely gold metallic Subaru Estate, for the gravel, and no, straight away it started giving him grief, and coming home from the Grampian. Then he was about an hour off the boat, and then what was it broke? I think was it the wishbone or something broke going down the motorway. Could have turned into a real serious accident. He was lucky, but so my trailer was the only one the car would fit into. So my rally car to come off. Eamon ended up driving my rally car to the boat and actually onto the boat and off the boat. Which he'll get the bill for the fuel, but other than that, I'll not charge him too much for the privilege.
It's not everybody you let drive your rally car. You'd be a bit
no. Well, the pace Eamon was on, it was probably the fastest it was driven all weekend. So we can't. The car needs to stretch its legs at some point, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's for sure. For sure. So, Johnny, thanks for taking the time, and the best of luck in the remaining rounds of the BRC.
Yeah, no problem, Kevin. Thanks. Happy to come on anytime.
And Kevin, also in the Grampian, David Bogey was taking part with our own John Rowan on board. They got 6th overall and took a haul of points with regard to the Scottish Championship. And then Alan Carmichael and Arthur Kearns got 9th overall in their Hyundai R5, extending their BRC class lead, which was great to hear.
Absolutely brilliant to see. Yeah, that's great to see. And that's another thing with David Bogey is out in the new evolution version of the Rally 2 Fiesta. One of the first ones coming out of M Sport, and it's run by McGeechan Motorsport as well.
Absolutely, and again, very keen to see the results that new version clocks up to see how competitive it becomes.
For sure.
Yeah. And then in addition, just while we're on the talk of the BRC, you also caught up with Matt Cotton, Stage M presenter and reporter for the BRC Championship.
Yeah. I mean, it is seriously wide open. I think that's the thing with the BRC. It always has been really, really close. And, I think the BRC, we'd be the first to say what we lack in numbers, we make up for in competition and front running pace, I guess. And that in itself just excuse competition. It's just if anybody watches any of the coverage or any of the highlights, it is just so tight, so close. There's rarely more than sort of double figures of seconds in between people. And then if you extrapolate that across the year, then you tend to get a really close championship, and that's inevitably what we've got this year again.
Yeah, we're looking at Keith Cronin, Oisin Price, back again. Keith going for his 5th title, Oisin still trying to get that elusive 1st one, and this year too as well. We've seen new names appear on the leaderboard as well, which is always great to see.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's that's encouraging for the newcomers. You've got the likes of James Williams and Rory Bell, and they can see those names at the top. I think if anybody can ever say they've beaten Keith Cronin on a stage, they know they're doing well. I mean, it's a okay. I might be over exaggerating, but Keith Cronin, that's a real household name, and for them to go back home and say, we were fastest. We beat Keith. We beat Oisin Price. That's great for them, and it shows that they've got a wealth of pace, and that's what makes the BRC so good. You come along and you're doing really, really well. You only have to look at Ulster last year to see the pace of Oisin and Matt against everybody else, and it can blow people away. It really can.
Yeah, as you mentioned, the Ulster there last year, those two guys were a league of their own. Yes, they were fighting for a championship, but like they were leaving nothing behind, were they? Like, they were hammer and tongs right from the very first, from the clicked into first gear right to, right through.
Yeah, yeah. The pace is outstanding, and I'd like to think that's sort of why Keith keeps coming back. And we know he's trying to do the drive for 5. That's a big thing for him. He's trying to equal Jimmy McRae's record, and who can blame him? And Ocean just wants to get his first. So they've both got, I guess, different reasons for doing it, but the goal is ultimately the same. It's still a really, really prestigious championship, the BRC. And Keith is out there gunning for it, and it's great to see him over here. We're delighted. It's always a pleasure to have Keith and Mikey over.
Yeah, I think of that photo at the end of the Nicky Grist of Jimmy McRae and Keith Cronin, Jimmy holding up the 5 finger, and it was, it's hilarious. But it just shows you, like, even Jimmy now in his 70s, that friendly rivalry is still there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's still highly regarded across Europe, and we know, chatting to the likes of Alistair McRae and Jimmy McRae, everybody always keeps an eye on it. They're always interested in seeing what happens in the BRC. But if anybody's ever been part of the BRC, they'll know that it is. Oh God, it sounds a cliche, I guess, but there is a real family atmosphere to it. And I guess that's helped by maybe the slightly smaller numbers. I don't know, but there is, when the flag drops, everybody is into engagement mode, and everybody's competition head is on, I guess. But outside of that, then it is very much friendly rivalry, as you say.
And you talk, the family atmosphere. Your Irish cousins come over to visit. They're a very strong part of the championship as well, aren't they?
Absolutely vital. Always have been, though.
Yeah.
Kev, they really always have been. It's, I know it's a British championship by name, but we love to see the Irish coming over and tackling. And I guess, I'm sure each one have got their own reasons for coming over and doing the BRC, but I guess it's the fact that it's that mixed surface. It's some really good quality events, and they are really challenging events as well. The gravel events have got world-class stages. The tarmac events have got, good mileage, unique events, I guess, compared to back home with you. And that really is a lot of the reason why the guys come over and want to really push themselves on a variety of surfaces against the different drivers and very different events to what they're used to.
Yeah, as you mentioned there, like, the mixed surface, like, we're predominantly, tar-based here in Ireland. There's gravel championships as well, no? But the likes of Eamon Kelly going over there last year, who had never rallied in gravel, and we see how well he has took to the gravel. It's, so that obviously proves that the gravel in the UK allows drivers to develop.
Yeah, and that is exactly the reason Eamon has come over, because he wanted to push himself. He wanted to develop his speed, and he knew really that to be an all-rounder, to be an all-round rally driver, to do that, you have to push yourself and go up against other people that are sort of towards the top of their game. So he knew he had to come over and build his pace alongside everybody else. And he won his first gravel event, 5 months into the BRC last year at the Grampian, where we've just come from, and he did it again, of course, last weekend. So yeah, his gravel pace has just improved dramatically over a really short space of time, and he pretty much solely puts that down to having to push really, really hard to beat everybody else, of course.
Absolutely, yeah. And again, keep thinking this Irish angle from our point of view. Like, we think of West Cork 2020. Like, it's probably going to go down in history as, the best rally that never was.
We always joke about that rally. Really, we were. I mean, I was just about to leave to get on a plane, and there was a few guys that were already over doing some testing, and what a battle that would have been. Absolutely fantastic. Of course, we came over in 19, and it was just superb. I mean, I just absolutely loved it. It was great. I mean, it's such an atmosphere over there. You do events so right over in Ireland. You really, really do. And the UK really does look up to the ITRC, and it looks up to the events that you have over there, because you know how to put on a rally, you know how to put on a weekend, a festival. It's a real occasion, and we're quite jealous. We are.
Well, the door's always open. Like, this is probably one of the few years there hasn't been around here in Ireland. Is it something that you'd like to look at again in the future to revisit?
I'm sure Rhys Tarrant, the BRC manager, is sitting there flicking through the 2023 calendar and seeing what fits for him. Look, when this year's calendar was decided, we were not long out of COVID. I think the main reason, there were others, but the main reason was that cost saving from this side of the water, just to make sure that everybody could sort of compete on the mainland. I know that didn't really help the guys coming over from Ireland to us, but from our point of view, I think a full mainland event or a calendar was the right thing to do. We're in a very different world now, and it is a British Championship. I think everybody realizes that certainly going to Northern Ireland has got to be high on the agenda for the BRC, because it's part of what we do, and we always have done. And if that then leads into going elsewhere, and one of those is Southern Ireland, then I don't think anybody would be upset if we came back. Absolutely. I hope they wouldn't anyway.
No, we know your love of coming over here as well. We've seen you recently at the Down Rally. Another superb event. It's a rally organised by competitors for competitors, and it's great to see events like that coming up and becoming so popular.
Yeah, and Down Rally, classic example. You can feel the enthusiasm. So you get to the event and you can feel, the passion and the dedication from the organisers as soon as you're sort of even in the area. And again, that's sometimes arguably what we can miss over here, especially with the forest events, because we do tend to tuck ourselves away in the forests, and we'll service in a field somewhere or something like that. So when you go over to somewhere like the Down Rally, and you can just feel that passion from the organisers, you can see the effort and the dedication that they've put into sort of getting town centre service areas and things like that. It's second to none, really, and Down Rally was absolutely superb. It was a cracking rally, and over classic stages, of course, as well. So that's
you have the likes of Hamilton's Folly and things like that, and the smiles and the competitors at the end of the stages said it all, didn't they? So
yeah, definitely.
For sure. Looking the way the championship is going, it's still all on the knife edge overall, and the juniors. In the juniors, particularly from an Irish angle, we have Eamon, Kai White, Johnnie Mulholland, all still there in the fight too. These guys, it's improving their pace. It's showing the world how good that the Irish competitors are.
Yeah, 100%, and that's why the likes of Ola Nor Jr. came over, because he wanted to get that grounding. He wanted to get the experience of competing against people that are essentially at the top of their game. We see Kyle has moved into that 208 Rally 4 this year from the old Peugeot R2, and has been doing some great things with that. Of course, he was awarded the Nicky Grist win, which has certainly elevated his championship chances. Eamon is out front, undoubtedly. He's played his Joker card already, which gives him, I don't know whether he played it and he got his extra 5 points, but it gives you up to 5 additional points on the event. Carl's already played his last weekend, but unfortunately just failed to finish, so couldn't quite capitalise on that. But because we have 7 rounds, only 5 to count, it is still really, really tight. And really, I don't suppose we can even discount Johan Lloyd in the other 208. And I know he's not Irish; he's the Welsh contingent, I guess. And of course, Johnnie Mulholland is just, Mr. Consistent is Johnnie. He's there every time, getting the podiums, getting the points, getting that experience up that they're always looking for. It is a stellar championship, and the junior BRC is, it's often been regarded as a really good grounding for a career. But equally, if you just want to try and better yourself, it's equally a good place for that as well.
Absolutely. And then in the overall terms as well, Keith's out in front, but Oisin has already dropped one round with the Jim Clark Rally. So that's still very much open too.
Yeah, absolutely. They're level. Effectively, we take those drop scores into account, and they're effectively leveled. So, the next few rounds are going to be critical. Keith has admitted himself last weekend that it's really going to be difficult to beat Oisin on home soil at Rally Ceredigion in a few weeks' time. I wouldn't go as far to say that Keith has resigned himself to a second or a third or just a podium, but I think he realises that with Oisin being a previous winner of Rally Ceredigion, it's going to be difficult. But then just a few weeks later, we're back on gravel. We're back at the track rod, and Keith goes well there. He's won it before. It is just all to play for, I think. And as we said earlier, we've got a Rory Bell, we've got a James Williams, we've got an Elliot Payne. You just invite all of those names along into the mix, and I think it would be a risky business to start putting money down at this time.
You're going to keep your money in your pocket for now.
Yeah, it would be a risky business, I think. That
is for sure. And then your roller hat too. You look after the media for Josh McLean and Will Crichton in the WRC. Like those two guys, what a year they're having.
I think I just live in the wrong part of the world. I just need to move across because you are where it's at, to be honest. And look, I am a huge supporter. You only have to look at the Motorsport Ireland Rally Academy, and I know you've covered it a lot in your podcast previously. But what a sensational outfit that is! That has brought those two guys on phenomenally. Okay, Josh, on paper hasn't had a great year. You look at the results on a bit of paper, and it doesn't, particularly look fantastic. But if you look at his outright pace and take away a bit of the luck element or the lack of luck that he's had, and he is really doing well in what is effectively his first WRC2 campaign, his first full campaign. And Will, they're just a little bit just lacking that luck again. He has the pace, he has stage wins under him, and it just all hasn't quite come together for them. But absolutely great. And it's great to see Josh tackling Ypres this weekend as well. That's going to be pretty mega, I think.
Yeah, we look at his results there in previous years. It's the one event you would like to think that it may favour him.
Yeah, funny enough, I was looking back when the other week, and Josh's Rally Ypres last year started with a trip in a ditch on shakedown.
Yeah.
But it ended with his best ever WRC result of that year. So I think he was fifth in WRC 3, as it was called then. So he did exceptionally well. He was super, super fast on the roads over there. Of course, previous experience, going back to that junior BRC link. Mm-hmm. Yeah, in 2019, he was there with the Peugeot, the 208, and that gave him good grounding. So I think he feels confident. I think he's had a good test a couple of days ago. He's bedded in well. It's nice to go back to tarmac for him. I'm not convinced it's his preferred surface. I think Josh is really good at adapting to both surfaces, to be fair to him. But I'm really intrigued to see how he's going to go this weekend. No pressure on the lad. I am quite intrigued. Big entry though, as always. Such a specialist, such a specialist rally. So, as I say, no pressure on him, but it should be interesting, I think.
Yeah, we wish them all the best out the weekend. So, but Matt, thank you very much for taking the time to join us. It's been an absolute pleasure. We might catch up with you maybe at the end of the season and see how things fared out.
Absolutely. Be delighted to go over the season and see how everything's gone for everybody. Thanks for having me.
Looking forward to catching up with Matt now at the end of the season to sort of look back at the BRC, because it's going to be an enthralling battle there before it's all over. This weekend, final round of this Irish Tarmac Championship. This was the reason that this podcast is took off at the start of this year, and what a year it has been to date.
It's been fantastic, and I can't wait for this weekend. I'm a bit peeved that it clashes with Ypres, but it's just the way it is, because I tend to be up spectating in what do you call it, for the Ulster. I can't wait. I know. Okay, we don't have Alistair, we don't have Callum, and it's a bit of an outside shot for Meirion, but still, it'd be good even to see Josh wrapping it up on this event, even without the sort of main competition that he's had all year.
Yeah, rallying's a fickle sport. We know that. We know there's strange things that happen, but over the balance of the year, Josh has been head and shoulders the best. There's no doubt about it. He has had the speed when he's needed. In Killarney, he drove with his head. It's been a brilliant year for him. We look at the national championship as well. He's won every round of it. He has been the driver in Irish Tarmac this year.
Yeah, an incredible benchmark he has set there for everybody else. And even when you start looking back in the history books, he's set records there. Yeah. And it's going to be a long time before they're beaten, unless maybe Sam gets competitive and wants to go at them next year.
You would never know. And Marion has been consistent all year. Keeps knocking in the results. Again, he would be a worthy champion. There's no doubt about it. But it probably it's going to be a tall ask. But as I said, rallying's fickle sport. It's still out there, and then we have the likes of Johnnie Greer, Desi Henry. There's other guys there who all think they'll be going to that event to win. As far as I'm aware now, I don't think Desi's registered for the championship, so he may not affect the outcome of the title, but
yeah,
he will. I'm sure he'll be looking to gun for the one, so he may affect who will get their name on the trophy.
Absolutely, and again, there is that issue. For either Josh or Marion, championship's one thing. Do you want the win as well? Do you get sucked into a battle you don't need to be having? If Johnnie or Desi are really, turn up in full form and things go their way. So I don't know. You're right. It's fickle. The weather, the competition. Who knows what could be thrown into the mix that could affect the outcome.
Yeah, and with the Ulster, 2 days of each day is a point scoring day. Day one is 3 stages. So what a spin, an overshoot could drop you from 1st to 5th, and all of a sudden you're out of that point scoring position that leaves you safe. So it's going to be intriguing.
Absolutely. And look at the weather we're having this week. It's really a mixed bag. Who knows what it's going to be doing come Friday and Saturday. And yourself from spectating on the Slieve Gullion stage before, that's tricky in there. There's bits that are covered by trees. If that's damp, that could be as slippy as anything. And whilst, the mountain parts of the stage are dry. So, and they're going to be doing that second run in dusk stroke dark. So,
yeah. And as well as that too, it's not a public road. So it's going to be, it's going to be green in places as well too. So there's almost going to be a track worn down through it. That if you go beyond that track, you could be on the slippy stuff. So it's going to be, it is. And then Saturday, it's 3 stages done twice.
Yeah, it's pure sprint.
Yeah. There's no room for error at all. It's go, go, go.
Yeah, there really, there isn't. What do you call it? There's not much. There's a lot can go wrong.
Yeah.
For any of them, and not much can go right.
Yeah, that's for sure. And as well, then we've also the modified battle and the historics and the Rally 4 guys. It's all to play for this weekend. I do think there's going to be a lot of head scratching come the end of the event. Who has won what? Where the positions was, because you may claim points on both days, but you may not win the rally, or various connotations as well, and all this kind of thing. It's all going to be played out come Friday evening and then into Saturday afternoon as well.
It's going to be very difficult Saturday morning when they're having their breakfast, mentally preparing for the stages, trying to do the calculations from the points from Friday, what they need for Saturday. Doesn't bear thinking about.
And maybe at some point you have to just park that to the back of your head and just go out and drive, because there's, at the end of the day, it's going to be won and lost on the stages, and that's brilliant to see. This year of rallying, we were all a bit worried at the start. With COVID, coming back from COVID, would the numbers be there? And like, in fairness, most of the rallies this year, the numbers have kept strong. Yes, there's have been a few dropouts now towards the end of the season, but like the battle that's there, it's still enthralling.
It is. And the fact it's gone down to the wire. You want, as a fan, as a spectator, you want to go to the wire. You don't want, with 2 or 3 rounds to go, the championship's wrapped up and you know who's going to win, and then the entries drop for the last couple of rounds. So it's great that it is down to the end of the championship.
For sure. And I'm sure from a competitor's point of view as well, they want to get into that car. They want to race other guys. They don't want to tootle about and, they want to be, they want a yardstick to gauge themselves against. So, from everybody's point of view, this year really has been a 1-1.
Yeah. Oh, no, it has. And, in a sense, I feel sorry for Josh that he doesn't have, the same sort of fight between the 4 of them for a win. It's just between him and Meirion. But then again, mentally, psychologically, how does that affect him? Does he, unknowingly slack off? And that creates its own issues. Maybe he needs to be on the boil to be drilled and focused and concentrated. So you just don't know what way it could affect.
I think we know Josh is a winner. Like I don't think he's going to drive around looking for points. I think he's going to go for it. But it's going to be a fascinating battle. And we'll hear from Marion Evans now, who you caught up with, and hear his thoughts ahead of the event.
Marion, thanks for joining us this evening. Just wanted to catch up with you before the Ulster Rally. It's the 7th round of the Irish Tarmac Championship, and it's the last round of the Irish Tarmac Championship. And to add to that mix, double points on offer. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, the double points on offer kind of has given us the chance to fight for the championship this weekend, which is nice, I suppose. Maybe for Josh, it's not as good, but yeah. The Ulster's always nice to go to. It's a rally that kind of rotates quite a lot of the stages it uses sort of year on year. So I think all these are old stages, but they'll be very new to most of us. They're very, very tricky from what I've seen on the DVD. Twisty, a lot of work in them. So it's plenty to catch you out. But yeah, should be a good rally, hopefully.
Yeah, I think most of the stages they are previously run, but probably looking at about 12 to 15 years ago. So yeah, they would be new to most of you guys. And then also into the mix, we have a nighttime stage as well. What's your thoughts on that? How are you in the dark?
Okay. It always something you kind of not worry about, but you always think about quite a bit. But when you get there, it's fine. I mean, the lights we can use now are so good. And saying that, even if we get into what's meant to be the night stage on time, it shouldn't really be fully dark even. So that won't be too bad. The only thing with it is it's up Sleep Gullin, which is all like the first sort of probably 3-4 mile of it is all like pretty open with not a lot for your lights to bounce off. So if it does get dark, well, for us, if it gets dark, it'll be a challenge. For the boys further back, it'll be a challenge anyway, But yeah, that'll probably be the most challenging thing about it, is that if you go down a lane with your lights, it's so much for the lights to bounce off. But when you're up on top of a mountain, it's lighting up fields. It just kind of just makes it a bit harder. But hopefully it'll be okay.
Yeah, and Sleep Gullin stage can be tricky enough. It's slippy in there in parts, and the weather has just broken here, so could be damp there on Friday night.
Yeah. A lot of the guys told me to respect the stage. It's the shortest stage in the rally by some way, but you can see there's a fair bit to catch you out. I mean, it looks like it's pretty much a flat out blast up the mountain, and you get to the top and come down, it just changes the nature completely. And I think being a mountain road, generally what I've seen is that you kind of have one line of obviously traffic over it all the time, which makes where you drive pretty slippy. So yeah, a bit of tree coverage, in the odd place, which if it rains, it'll hold some moisture as well. But yeah, hopefully it'll be dry. I guess we got onto a pretty good pace in Cork again, and to be honest though, the rain wouldn't really faze me too much. I think we've gone quite well in mixed conditions this year. So yeah, if it does rain, I suppose that's that. But it's always nice to have a dry rally, I suppose, as well.
Absolutely. And again, come back to the last round of the championship, you're in the mix here. Now, in fairness, we've no Alistair Fisher, we've no Callum Devine. It's really you and Josh now for the championship title. And in one sense, Josh can kind of take it easy. I think if he can finishes in 4th place on the Friday and 4th place on the Saturday, that's enough for him. Kind of what's your thoughts? Is it Josh's to lose? Is it yours to win?
I think it's been Josh's to lose since about Killarney, I think. But Yeah, look, the thing is with if Ali and Callum, Ali and Callum are missing, so if something does go wrong for Josh, I think he'd probably need something to go wrong for me then for me not doing it. It's just one of those. So I suppose the pressure's on him. I'd like to say, if we go there, there's not a lot for us to lose really. He's got kind of, to be fair to him, a year's worth of hard work to lose. He's kind of been the man to beat, to be fair, from the start. And yeah, for me, it's we go there second in the championship, and if I don't think we can lose that to Johnnie or anyone. So it's kind of, we can only go one way, but it can go both ways for him, which probably adds just a bit more pressure for him. But he seems to have dealt with it pretty well so far this year.
Yeah, and looking at the Ulsters, it's really a day and a half. It's a sprint rally. It's not how I would imagine it's not how you're would have approached the previous rounds of the Tarmac Championship. So what is your approach for this? Is it literally flat out from the get-go and you've got to give it everything, or is it a bit more tactical than that?
Well, the thing with the Ulster is, yeah, it's a sprint, but it's so tough. It always is so tough, because we see with the rallies in the south, they're generally a fair bit faster. You look at the 20k stage in Cork 20, we were averaging about 125 k's over it, which is quite a high average speed, and a lot of fast sections where you can rest a bit, But once you get up there, you're looking at 20 k's of just solid work, and there's a lot that can kind of catch you out. So I think a key would probably just to try and be clean and fast and tidy, just drive well, and I suppose bravery maybe in the fast stuff won't be as much of a thing, because it'll just be more about who's the most efficient through the twisty bits and not wasting time, because on the narrow bits it's so easy just to get sucked into maybe overdriving, being up a ditch for a few seconds, and you can lose time easily like that. But yeah, I think we'll just do what we've done all year, to be honest. I listened to last week's podcast a bit, and Kevin said that we kind of lost our way a bit, maybe from we clipped the wheel off on the circuit, and from there we just a few things really. We didn't really get into our stride properly until, like, I would say Donegal at times, and even that wasn't perfect from my side. But we felt kind of in Cork again on the second day. It was unfortunate that we stalled the first day. It kind of threw us out the fight for maybe the win, because over the second day we matched Josh and Callum all day really until the last loop, where being 20 seconds behind, there was no real point to try and make that time, because the way it's been this year, you probably need a week's worth of rallying to make 20 seconds, So yeah, I was quite happy with that. On the whole, once we made a few changes to the car on Saturday, once we got that kind of sorted, we were there. So that was good. And going to the Ulster where the stages are all quite fresh, it'll be interesting, because we talk about the championship, but still there's a rally to be won. So will Josh go for it? I think Josh is capable of winning it, even though he's driving for a championship. He's in that kind of groove where he's just driving well all the time. So obviously Desi and Johnnie are both pretty local guys, and they'll want to win that rally quite badly as well. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, it can throw up some surprises, and yeah, let's see. It'll be a good race either way.
Yeah, I was just going to bring up, you've got Johnnie Greer in the Citroen C3, you've got Desi Henry in the Fiesta Rally 2. Both of them, very, very familiar. They're on home territory up there. Is there danger? They're going to be quick. They're always quick. Is there danger getting sucked in to them and taking your eyes off Josh, or is it a case you've got to be, fighting everybody for both the Ulster win and also the for a potential for the Tarmac Championship?
At the end of the day, I suppose if it depends how it goes. I mean, if Josh wins the championship on the first day by scoring enough points or whatever, it'll we can, and we're still in the shout blue, and we can go down on the second day. But if he has a problem the first day, we have to kind of weigh it up a bit. There's obviously I take a championship over the rally win. There's no question about that. But still, it would be nice to be in the frame for it. There's Johnnie's been very, very good this year, I think, and people kind of have glossed over it a bit. You go to West Cork, historically Johnnie was never really that fast, and this year he was really, really fast there. So he's on more familiar territory, just won the down rally, so he'll be quick. And I'm sure if Desi can get the problem sorted on his car, that he'll be there as well, because you saw what pace he could come up with on the circuit. So yeah, still there'll be sort of a good little battle going on there. It's a shame maybe for Callum and Ali not to be there, but it's the way it is. And yeah, it'll you can't forget the rally, I suppose. I mean, everybody will talk about the championship and all that, but still, there's like I said, there's a rally to be won there, and even though it's 150 k's, it's probably the best part of 100 k's shorter than most of the rallies we've done. I'm sure by Saturday afternoon it'll feel like just the same looking at the stages. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely, you're right. There is a rally there, and that has to be, you got to finish that first before we look at the championship in a sense. And you mentioned you'd put the championship first, but I suppose is there a risk in the heat of the moment you get caught up in things and you think you'll put it all on the line for an Ulster Rally win?
Yeah, well, we'll kind of, if we're in the frame, we'll kind of know at the time if the championship's on or not. So I think we can make that decision as we go along. But I think, like everyone says, when the flag drops, the bullshit stops, doesn't it? So it's always different when the helmet's on. We'll if the rest of you has anything to go by, the gaps won't be massive. But you can make a lot of time in these stages actually. So yeah, for me, car side, there's no excuses. Matt won with basically the same cars what I've got last year. The two boys won a good pace up there. So, but Josh has had a great year, and like I said, Johnnie's been come on a lot with the Citroen as well, and Desi's obviously got a lot of pace in him as well. So in that sense, it'll be interesting. I think it'll be worth watching anyway.
Oh no, absolutely, and I'm looking forward to get up to spectate myself. I'm looking forward to the event. And what do you call it? You've just come back from the Grampian Rally where you were running the cars for Oisin Price, and kind of what's your take on how that championship? Obviously, Keith Cronin, had the victory on the Grampian, but how do you think that championship's shaping up?
It's shaping up nicely. We could have done with another win at the weekend, really, over Keith, but no, look, it's the two boys are going well. They're fighting against each other, and it's great. I think you saw the BRC last year, the hype that a fight between two drivers could generate, and it's looking much the same this year. To be fair, you've got Rory and James are going very well in the championship as well for their first year in R5 cars. So it'll be interesting. Back to Tarmac next time. Keith's very strong on Tarmac, but it's Oisin's home rally anyway, so it'll be interesting. I've always said it'd be nice to see the Irish come over and do a close road event in Wales. So it sounds like it's only Keith coming across and not the rest of the boys, which is a shame. But it'll be nice to see.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate this year that the BRC didn't get the same Irish support that it did the last couple of years. I suppose we've seen maybe a more competitive Irish Tarmac Championship than we have in the last couple of years as well on the back of that. Yeah,
I think the Tarmac Championship probably blossomed because of that. I mean, the guys have just decided to stay at home and race there, and it's been good to be a part of that. But saying that, it'll still be nice, hopefully going forward, the two championships could mix a bit, once or twice a year. It's always nice to get everyone together, from these parts and fight it out properly. It'll be great to see if that could happen again next year, because, the BRC, to be fair, as a championship gets a lot of stick, but the standard of the drivers in the championship are as good as the Irish Tarmac, you don't need me to tell you that, that Oisin and Keith are as good as anyone. So, if everyone could come together on a proper rally, and sort of 2 days on Tarmac would be brilliant. And we saw that just the COVID West Cork, the one that got cancelled. I think that would have been an awesome rally. There were probably 12, 15 guys who could have won stages in that event, and you could have probably said maybe 8 or 9 could have won the rally. And it's a shame that got taken away, but hopefully next year something like that can happen again, and it would draw a lot of people in as well.
Yeah, it would be nice to see a crossover between the two championships again. And it is a pity we didn't get West Cork or the Ulster this year as that crossover point, but fingers crossed for next year. Marion, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much. We wish you all the best for the Ulster Rally, and what do you call it? May the best man win.
Thank you. Hopefully it'll be me for a change.
Brilliant. Thanks, Marion. Oh, can't wait for Friday night now. That's a fascinating battle. Looking forward to the weekend. And speaking of the weekend, we mentioned earlier Ypres. So, what do you call it? The next episode of the WRC.
Yes.
I think Tarmac has put the pressure on Terry Neuville.
Yeah, without a doubt. Before Finland, we had discounted Hyundai. This wasn't going to be their year. Has there been something found in the car? Neville didn't look comfortable in the car, but he's not going to go to Belgium and want to finish second. It's his home event. He's wanting to go there for the one. Is the car capable of it? Did Tarmac pull something spectacular out of the bag? Has he found the sweet spot? Will Toyota fight back? There's going to be so many questions. Toyota talked before Finland about had the most reliable car all season. They were going to now try and extract some performance. Will there be upgrades in the car before Belgium? It's going to be interesting to see. They're not going to take getting beat lying down there, going to be out for revenge as well.
Well, I heard in an interview there after Finland, Tom Filer, Toyota's head of development, had hinted that they had more improvements in the bag and they didn't bring them all to Finland. So yes, potentially they have it there. I know the one thing they were focusing on in Toyota was that outright performance and top end speed against the Hyundai. I honestly think all the pressure has been thrown on to Neville, and again in the past, I don't know if he's really coped that well when that pressure comes on him. I think, he can't use the excuse that the car's a ball of poo because it is, and the team have admitted it is, and Tarmac just finds something in himself as well as the car. I don't think it was a development piece. I think it was utter sheer determination. But I think that really puts the pressure on Neville, either stand up or on your home event or forget it.
Absolutely. It's going to be fascinating. And then our own Craig Breen, Belgium was always an event that he has loved doing. Finland wasn't the rally he hoped for. He's going to be surely have to hoping for a change of fortune. Yes, he's had bad luck with, there's been things in the ditch and one thing and another. Some would say maybe them think you shouldn't be in the ditch finding them things, but still, it's the fine margins at that level of the sport. He knows Belgium, he knows Ypres well. You'd hope now that this is finally going to be the event where all things start to click into place for him.
You would hope so. Definitely hope so. And look, he was, when things went well, he was quick in Finland. It was just an unfortunate, an error over a yump. But the question then also comes into it, is the Puma at the same level as the Hyundai or the Toyota now? I don't know if it is. It seems to be lacking a little bit of grunt at the top end. And Ypres is just short, fast sprints between junctions. So you need to be on it and quick on it, and it just depends. Can the Puma give that to Breen?
For sure. And it was great to see them, Ford and M Sport, doing a test there before Belgium. We bemoaned the fact that there was no test before Finland. So, hopefully they'll have, refined their setup now as well too, because they need a change of fortune, really, don't they?
They do. Now, the only thing that the test threw up was another underbonnet fire, which, again, that's what happened to Loeb. So is it the same issue? Is it a different issue? Was it coincidence? Was it just the heat from the the what do you call it, the excessive summer heat we've been having, or the continental Europe's been having? I don't know, but just there was a bit of alarm bell ringing there when I heard that another fire. But yeah, I'm delighted to see they did the testing, because they didn't do any testing for Estonia. Resources are tight for the team, so the fact that they are taking it seriously, and I'll use that loosely, is a very positive sign. I was delighted to see that.
Absolutely. So, and then Varun Johnson went along with Takamoto in the two as well. So a lot of Irish interest there as well. Josh McErlean and James Fulton over in the Rally 2 Hyundai, run by PCRS. As we discussed there with Matt Cotton, Josh is having a year on paper that maybe doesn't look great, but if you drill in a wee bit deeper, the times have been very encouraging. Needs to bring it all together now.
Absolutely. And again, hopefully a nice clean run on Tarmac for Josh will help. Things didn't go his way with Finland, but again, as you say, when you look in between the issues and the problems, some very good times being set. So be very interested to see how Ypres goes for him.
For sure. And it's great to see Eamon Boland making a return to the stages as well, and the Fiesta too. Eamon's just one of them guys who just comes and does a rally and there's no fuss, no drama about it either.
Absolutely. No, Eamon's a great stalwart of rallying, and it's always interesting when the WRC entry list comes out. You always have a quick scan to see, is he going to pop up? I know his favourites usually are Monte Carlo or Spain or whatever, but it's always good when you see him appearing elsewhere. And then one other semi-Irish interest, Patrick O'Snyers is
Patrick, we remember from the likes of Lurgan Park. He's over here a few times, and then a great supporter of the Deja Vu events as well too. Brilliant to see. And the car is in, you think a Rally 3 Fiesta is a young man's car, but it's going to be fascinating to see what he can extract out of that car over the weekend as well.
Yeah, no, very interesting to see how he gels with the new technology.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see what stage times look like once he gets bedded in.
Oh, for sure. Like he was, Ypres Rally for a few years too. So like that is, he was, one of the best, if not the best, drivers on that event over the years. So it's going to be brilliant to watch because like we've seen what he could do in the Porsche. So what can he do in this Rally 3 Fiesta? Like we keep extolling the virtues of that car. So it'll be
Yeah,
interesting now to see what Patrick can do with it.
absolutely. I just have flashbacks in my head of Snyers on the Manx. Just incredible, absolutely fabulous driver.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I had the pleasure of seeing him a few times in Lurgan Park, and it was just breathtaking.
Yeah.
It was lovely to see. So, uh, until the next time, we'll be back again next week, obviously, to catch up with all the how this whole championship fares out, how Ypres goes, and looking forward to the next event. So, once again, really appreciate you taking the time to listen to Crunching Gears, the Rally podcast. Again, please like, share, comment, and rate the podcast. All those things make a massive difference, and really appreciate you taking the time to listen. So until the next time, take care, speak soon, and bye.